10 signs you're an empath. If you're an empath and you've discovered the term recently, or maybe you've been doing some research about narcissism and this term empathic person keeps turning up, then this video is for you. Here I'm going to outline 10 signs that you're an empath and how best to look after yourself. My name is Keeley. I'm a psychotherapist who is passionate about helping empathic people understand the dynamics with them and narcissistic individuals. Often the dynamics are unconscious, and when empathic people do not understand this, we can often suffer immensely with our mental and physical health. And it's one of the reasons why my channel is dedicated to helping empaths develop tips, tools, and strategies to help them understand tricky relationship dynamics. Firstly, empaths don't tend to have big egos. We tend to be in the background. Sometimes we're shy, introverts. We're not great at being seen. We're often invisible. We can facilitate others, but we may struggle with praise. We may struggle with compliments, and often are far more comfortable facilitating others. Secondly, empaths have lots of empathy. We're kind, caring, considerate people. And often, thirdly, you can find us in the helping professions where our natural traits of being kind work particularly well for us. We care about vulnerable people as well as animals and can tend to end up working in those industries. The fourth thing to consider if you're an empath is sometimes we're often a little insecure and we tend to instantly think that things are our fault, instantly. And over time, especially if you've been in an abusive relationship, you'll begin to understand that that actually is the problem, because you're quick to think that you're the problem, which means that you don't focus on what the other person has done. So empaths need to be careful with that trait of knee-jerk taking responsibility, knee-jerk thinking the problem is ours, because often other people, manipulative people, will capitalize on that and can, in the long run, mean that you end up doubting yourself even more so, which compromises your own life. Therefore, if we're quick to blame ourselves, like I said, it means that we're not great at looking at the situation, the environment, other people's behavior. This leads into the sixth one. Empaths, we can sometimes take way too much responsibility, which is so interesting because narcissists tend to take zero responsibility and deflect blame. With empathic people, we tend to assume a little bit too much responsibility and then put the onus upon ourselves to find all the solution, often when the problem may not necessarily be us. One of the things to work on during therapy is to begin to encourage you to believe in yourself. Beginning to believe in yourself is so important. The seventh thing about empaths is they see the best in people. And the challenge with that is if you see the best in people, you'll struggle to see the worst. And whilst you may have the view that all humans are good, the reality is there are some humans who are incredibly cruel and unkind. And I think empaths, we need to understand that. Everybody's got the potential for good, but it doesn't mean they're able to bring that to fruition, depending on how they've been raised and what traumas they've not been able to overcome. Empaths, number 8, we struggle with boundaries. Often the reason we struggle with boundaries is because we may well have an uncomfortableness when it comes to putting ourselves first, and we may also be crippled by guilt. When we try to assert ourselves or stand up for ourselves, that can make us feel guilty, especially if you're an empath who is constantly thinking about the needs of others. If you constantly put yourself in someone else's shoes, often the reality is you'll struggle to see things, to advocate for yourself. And that's the 9th tip. The reality is the fact that you put others first often results in you putting yourself last. This is one of the ways we become yes people. This is one of the ways that we become abused. This is one of the reasons why narcissistic people target us, because they know they can manipulate and use us to their advantage. And lastly, We can be so attuned to the needs of others that we are totally out of sync with our own needs. We don't actually know what we need. And often unwoke, unaware empaths will often start to feel resentment and bitterness when all the giving you give results in you getting nothing back in return. Resentment and bitterness are always important signs that mean the balance has skewed, that it's gone way too far. So one of the challenge for empaths is you're so attuned to other people's needs that the skill is to begin to learn, what is it that you want? I know one of the questions I ask empaths to answer themselves is, does this arrangement work for me? Yeah, because we can be people pleasers and tend to put others' needs first, we can often overcommit and don't consider whether certain things we're doing actually work for ourselves. So these are my 10 signs that you're an empath. What is an empath? If you've got any more questions or you'd like to add to this video, do leave a comment below or inbox me. I'll be more than glad to answer or to help out. Do take care of you, because if you don't, who will?